Hi, I'm Katy Jean, and I'm at Fairview Cemetery, which is not in Fairview. It's in Halifax. Just like neighboring St. John says it's in Bedford. It's in Halifax. It's on the borders. But this is Halifax. This is Halifax. This is Halifax. The Windsor Street Exchange is right. That's Halifax. Like, that's the corner of it. But anyway, I'm at Fairview. Busy spot here. There's a lot of people visiting. Like, living. Sydney. You know what's strange? Firstly, his name's facing this way. And everything else, like, there's a flat one there. There's all these names. Everything's facing this way. And he is facing this way. I don't really know how to feel about that, Sydney. Especially with your death record. I wasn't going to do this because it's a little much, honestly. But I noticed one thing. I was out the door today. I was going out the door to go do part 2 of the story in 2 rectangles. And it's October 22nd today. And I noticed you, Sydney, died on October 22nd, 1918. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to go see Sydney. I saw his obituary. He died of the Spanish flu. His brother put out a notice thanking everyone for the condolences, basic stuff. And I was like, well, maybe the 2 Leach families are related because they mentioned England and, maybe the whole family came over. You never know. So I look into it and I was like, I'll look at his death record so I don't have to go the long way of, tracing genealogies that I can't even confirm are true. Maybe his death record says the same city or something, On his death certificate, it does say Spanish influenza. It does say that. It does say that. He had Spanish influenza. He did have Spanish influenza. Then there's these really tiny markings around it. I was like, oh, well, that's curious. What does that say? A heart attack, stroke? Sometimes there's comorbidities that come with sickness. And this says, you know what this says. It says suicide while temporarily insane. That's not the Spanish flu. That's not a heart attack from the Spanish flu. That's not, a stroke. That is entirely unrelated, in my opinion, to the Spanish flu. That's like saying, he died of COVID and being shot. That is I'm sorry to hear that, Sydney, but that is 2 entirely different things. And then, so why didn't you just put suicide as the cause of death? That's not uncommon to see. It's not like they try to hide it up. They don't have a special visitation of God for suicides. They just put suicide. But then they go on. And then in the margin, on the side, cut throat with razor. Why do they keep going on about it if that wasn't your, why didn't you just start with this and then put, Spanish influenza after? Why is this, you kept what happened, man? I was very surprised by it. I don't get surprised all that often, but I thought I saw everything on death records until I happened upon this guy. And the weird thing is that Frederick C. Leach did the same thing. And they're not related. And they both have C. Leach. Anyway, super bizarre. Strange. Why make 2 side notes? Just put suicide. You could have saved your handwriting. You could have saved your wrist. You didn't have to keep going. You could have just put suicide and we'd be like, oh, sorry to hear that. That's bad. And moved on with our lives. How bizarre. To keep at, Anyway. Strange occurrence. You were only 37, weren't you? Yeah. Lived on Buckingham Street. Oh, that's not good. That's around where my family lived on. Jacob and Grafton. Yeah, that's underneath Scotiabank Center in Scotia Square now. They tore it down in the 60s, but meant to tear it down in like 1910. Like it wasn't a good area. Anywho, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Sydney, but you did not die of the Spanish flu by any effect. Any effect. Strange. Alright, well, that is the death record of the day. I stayed and had a smoke with Sydney, and I was telling him 105 years to the day that he died. Somebody wished he didn't. Okay? I just want to tell you that 105 years later, someone's still saying his name. So we wish you didn't, Sydney. 105 years later, you're still a person. You were still here, and you were still valid. I'm sorry. And you are a person. You are here, and you are. Okay? Love you.